courage to be real, where real stories break the silence.
So I received a message from one of our listeners. And by the way, I really appreciate when you guys reach out to us, we will reach back out to you. And if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. This is The Courage to Be Real with Jason and myself. And I just want to read this quote to you. It really resonated pretty high. And before I read the quote, please hit share. Please hit subscribe. It's what keeps our mission alive. And we really appreciate and love every one of you. So this quote came in and it really hit me hard. And I think it's going to fit right into what we're talking about today. And there's a couple of variations of it. I'll read two of them. Some mornings, the only thing that gets me out of bed is knowing the children still need me. And the other variation is, if it weren't for the children, I wouldn't get out of bed. They're the reason I chose to stay. Those hit pretty hard. Now, this individual, and I won't mention any names, reached out to us, and I really take it to heart when somebody reaches out, that whether it's a cry for help or whether it's just sharing something that they've gone through or been through, or it's something they would like us to elaborate on, I'm going to take all of these seriously. So please feel free to reach out to us, and it's a safe space. We will never say who you are. We will never put you on the spot. And I will always ask permission before I share anything that you share with us.
Hey, Drew.
Yeah.
I noticed as you shared those quotes, there is a subtle shift in the tone of your voice. Can you share with our audience why these resonated with you so much? Like, okay, this is the courage to be real. Be real with us for a second.
So 1 year ago, November 21st, is actually when I met Jason Plevel. It's also when I stood on the rooftop of our 4-story building and stared down at concrete, basically 5 stories up, and I felt a peace about jumping. I was that low and that depressed. Didn't care about anyone, didn't care about my wife, didn't care about my kid. And I know that's a horrible place to be, but I had to get there in order to get here, as awful as that sounds. So yeah, this resonates really, really deeply with me. It resonates really loud and clear. And I'm not alone, even though I felt very alone at the time. And it's a tough place to be in. You know, anyone who has been in the position of saying, you know what, fuck it, I quit. This is going to hit you hard. And our conversation today might be a little bit tough to swallow, but it's important to share. It's important to hear as well. Any thoughts on that, Jason?
You're exactly right in everything that you're saying. And I apologize. This is my old coaching habit coming in, kicking in, but you kind of avoided the topic a little bit. Like you gave us a bunch of surface level stuff. And it's funny because you sent me an email saying you're not going to put me on the spot, and here I am throwing you under the bus.
Here you are. Thank you so much, man. I'm glad he reads my emails, folks. Yeah, I had to deal with, I was in a bad situation with a very bad psychiatrist, and she pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed for me to face my childhood before I was ready. And I finally shared with my wife what had happened to me as a child, and it just hit me. There was too much shame. There was too much embarrassment. There was too much grief behind it. I was reliving moments that after 40 years I'd buried nicely. And it got to the point where I just couldn't even face myself in the mirror anymore, to be honest with you. It was a tough time. Really tough time. And I'm not happy it happened the way it did, but I'm happy with the results and the outcome. If I could take something so horrible as, and we'll go into fuller details in the next, couple sessions or weeks or so, but if I could take something horrible like the childhood that I experienced, and I kept quiet from everyone, and when I say everyone, I mean everyone, until that moment. And my wife saw right through it. She knew as I was confiding in her and talking about my past, she's kind of jumped forward and guessed some of the things. And I even have scars on my body that I pawned off as something else. And she goes, no. So I love her dearly for being understanding and sticking with me during these horrible times. But I got to the point where I was an actual monster. And you even had some moments where you spoke with Maggie, or at least she reached out to you and you reached back. And I think our marriage was pretty much over. I was a tyrant. They woke up in the morning, her and Cam, they didn't know who they were going to get. Every little thing triggered me. I was dealing with such chaos in my mind, such shame, all of these memories coming back and haunting me. And PTSD is real, folks. You can bury it as much as you want. I don't sleep well at night. In fact, I have horrible insomnia, and I've taught myself that over the years because when I dream, they're nightmares, and my nightmares are real. So I avoid them. So I got to the point where I didn't want to face any of it anymore. It was just too much for me to handle. I couldn't change the anger. I couldn't shake the anger. I mean, I didn't have the tools that somebody like Jason would give me. And again, I'm thankful for that moment. Literally, I started following him, I think the same day, and I was standing up on the roof, and all of a sudden my phone bleeps, and I was just kind of mapping everything out. I'm like, you know what? I feel good with this. Just going to go downstairs, take care of a couple of things. All of a sudden, bleep. Yeah, I'll take a look at it. Who's this guy? Oh, yeah, I started following him. And I messaged you back, and you had this methodical way of just taking that right moment, saying a couple of right words, and you kept me intrigued. Now, I had this plan B, which was plan A, now it's plan B. I'm going to see where this goes. The space that Jason's holding for me is real. It feels good. It feels comfortable. And I'm only sharing most of this part about working with Jason because I think it's very important that if you're at the point where I was, where you're standing on a rooftop or you have a gun to your head or you have a bottle of pills and you feel peace, this is a horrible place to be. Let me warn you right now, you will succeed. And I don't want you to, because what happened afterwards and being here today and some of the things that transpired over this past year, and we in Cam, and now my relationship is shining, blooming better than ever. We are making plans for the future. Cam comes and runs and hugs me and just embraces me. The things that, father longs for. And it wouldn't have happened had I not gone through what I had to go through and had I not come out on the other end. So yeah, there is a little shift in my tone and it does resonate. And I feel bad for this individual. She reached out, and when she says the only thing that gets me out of bed is knowing the children still need me. Biggest concern I have, and I reached back and I was very kind. I said, thank you so much for sharing. And we have a little conversation going on. And I won't go into detail because that's personal for her. What happens when the children grow up and they no longer need her to the extent that they do now? That's a tough thing to look forward to or fear of looking forward to. Again, living in the moment, living today is very important. Don't worry about tomorrow. We can't do anything about tomorrow except anticipate tomorrow. We can't dwell on the past, even though I did. That was a big mistake. Jason, you know other people, maybe yourself included, that have dwelled on the past. And what do I always say? If I don't own my past, if I don't make my past my bitch, it will make me it. And I really believe that. Again, the courage to be real, the courage to stand up, the courage to face what you need to face, the courage to sit here and talk like we talk and share what we're going to share in hopes that just one person might see this podcast and say, you know what, that's me.
1000%, Drew. And everybody, if you guys are just joining in, this is the Courage to Be Real podcast. And what you just witnessed is Drew Foreman. Again, the man, the myth, the legend here. He took what, 4 or 5 minutes of accessing this bravery, this courage inside of him to share part of his story. And I like to think, Drew, that is the core mission behind what we're doing here. By sharing, by being real, by being vulnerable, we're not just talking here. We're creating a ripple inside of the universal consciousness that we all are inside of this giant ocean. And hopefully that ripple will come out and it'll affect someone else, which you know already through the social media, the actions that you've taken to get your message out there through the We and Cam project. People are resonating. And it's just a phenomenal project that you're doing, man. And
thank you, man.
This woman that reached out, so doing it for the kids, it's the only reason that she has enough energy, strength, commitment to keep going. But you're right. What's going to happen after that? Do you have any ideas, any recommendation for people? Like when you lose your purpose, then what?
Well, you bring up a very good point is when you lose your purpose. And I think that for me, I had to find new purpose. And that purpose was driven by the pain of the past. That purpose was driven by what I went through and how horrendous at times. And I mean, some of that pain still resonates. I'll wake up some morning and it's like, wow, that was really tough. Or if I have a nightmare in the middle of the night, I wake up, suddenly it's like, wow, that was tough. But out of that was forged something new. And I took some of that pain, and that pain became We and Cam. So now I have a mission. I have a purpose-driven mission to help others like myself, to be a voice for the kids that are too frightened to speak for themselves. And that is our tagline, by the way. To have a broadcast, or excuse me, a podcast with my buddy Jason, my coach, to be able to go on the emotionally jacked community and speak candid and just be real with the individuals on there. And that's also a great place. That's really the courage to be real. I think we're kind of borrowing that from the community that you created, and we're bringing it out to the media, to the people outside of the community, because there's some stuff that happens in that community and it's just heartfelt. And I could feel the tears. I could feel the emotions from some of these people sharing. And then I feel compelled to help and share and talk with them, or private message and talk with them. And it's like, you're not alone. You'll never be alone, but you're not alone. And especially here, this is a free, safe, open space. I shouldn't say free, but it's a safe, open space where people who are invited to the community can really become something, that can challenge themselves, can get past some of these past things. I had to work with you at one-on-one for 6 months, every single week. You gave me homework. You gave me challenges. You gave me a lot of soul searching. There was some pain involved. There was a lot of emotions involved. I really had to dig deep. And by the way, I'm going to put this out there. I'm dyslexic. I think it's kind of funny because I also write children's books now, but I'm dyslexic. All right. Dyslexic is not stupidity, but I have a hard time reading and writing. I do it for research. I do it for the children's books. I do it for what I do. I actually work in the corporate learning realm. And I used to be a professor. So there are things that I've had to do where being dyslexic is a challenge, but I like that challenge. And here I am constantly pushing myself. And now I laugh about it. It's like, yeah, all right, this dyslexic guy is writing children's books. Good thing children don't know how to spell. I do have people proofread. I have everything proofread many, many times by many, many people before I publish something. Every day I wake up, I think about, what can I do? This podcast came about. What can we do that's purposeful? Are we going to become millionaires doing a podcast? Probably not. We're not Joe Rogan. Although if you guys want to send us some money, we'll let you. But we're doing this because it's something that means something to us. And I think that every day, and this young lady who, I'm assuming she's a young lady, who messaged me because her kids are still at home, she needs to find something that's meaningful and important to her past her children. And here's something to think about. So if anyone is in that position, and let me read it again. Some mornings, the only thing that gets me out of bed is knowing the children still need me. Let's take that a step further, because I just became a grandfather. What about when your children have children? Don't you want to be there? Don't you want to be that hero mom turned into a hero grandmother? And spend time with the one that you could give the noisy toy, the real loud, noisy toys to, and you can leave when it gets rambunctious? Don't you want to be the one that can bake cookies and get them all hyped up on sugar and then leave when it gets a little chaotic? This is revenge. So live just to revenge what your children have done to you. And I'm being a little facetious and funny, but this is your chance to be that hero to some little child that is because you raised your little children to be wonderful adults. And that's the universe, man. That's a blessing. That is, every holy book ever written talks about the offspring, talks about the generations, talks about being that loving or head of your family, or somebody that properly raises your children. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I never thought I would embrace being a grandfather. I'm too freaking young for that. No, I'm not actually, but it's exciting times. I mean, when your little boy grows up, don't you want to see and be there when he gets married, be there when they have children?
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
that's something.
For sure. And you're touching on something that I think is so profound and so beautiful, Drew. But there's a couple things that I need to comment on. Number one, a little while ago, you said you're being facetious and funny, but let's be honest, you're not really that funny.
True.
It is really easy to put your purpose outside of yourself. the kids, the grandkids, my job, my relationship, whatever it may be. But if this woman or this lady, this young lady, whoever's listening, ends up, I'm sorry, who sent you this message, if she ever ends up listening, I would love an opportunity to talk to her, like right now through the camera, if she's paying attention at all. You had said, Drew, sometimes we just need to turn and face our challenges. I would ask this young woman, what are your challenges? What is it that's causing you to have to put your purpose outside of yourself? Like, first of all, why? Why are you laying in bed without having a purpose? Like, why is it so difficult? Like, she clearly needs to turn and face something. But sometimes facing these challenges, sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes it's just about acceptance, accepting the fact that I'm being challenged right now. And telling yourself, and that's okay. Like, I know you for sure, Drew, your story was difficult, extremely hard to go through, very, very painful. And it wasn't so much that you turned and faced it. You did that. Don't get me wrong. You turned and you faced it and you did what you had to do to heal, grow, evolve, whatever you want to call it. But I firmly believe that the version of you that you are now is the version that you always were. And it only happened because you accepted your challenges. You accepted the fact that your past was what it was. You did not, you eliminated the story and the narrative that was keeping you stuck in that version of yourself that you weren't happy with. And
I
once you
just
have
got
that acceptance,
the
sorry, go
hair
ahead, man.
is standing up on my arm. I just got goosebumps because you hit something so critical and you didn't even say it. So I'm going to say it. I had to learn to love myself and
100
forgive myself. And I blame myself, and I had so much shame for so many years. I buried this. I can't talk about this with anyone, right? And finally, when I turned to face it, finally, when I confronted it, finally, when I owned it, before I could even do all of that, what did you tell me I had to do? I had to look in the mirror and love that ugly mug that isn't even funny. Now I'm hiding behind a microphone because it looks better. I had to love that mug before I could love someone else. And that's absolutely true.
Courage to be real, where real stories break the silence.